Some of us have the strong desire to be in a relationship. I'm gonna talk a little bit off of my experience because all my life, I've always desired marriage. I've always desired to be in a relationship with someone, to have a boyfriend, okay? And I've always had that desire even before I knew Jesus Christ. But I used to always seek love, and I used to always put myself in a position to where I get hurt. But I was trying to seek love in that person. I was trying to seek satisfaction, trying to seek joy in that person and not in Jesus. Something that would always happen to me, I remember I had my first big crush in the end of 7th grade, and something with me that I always used to do is I always created a fantasy in my mind, something that's not happening, but I was thinking that was what's gonna happen. And I always ended up getting hurt. I would always get let down, leading to heartbreak. I remember I would always, every single day, gosh, a bug. I would always, every single day, be listening to music, sad music in my bed, crying. I'm not trying to over exaggerate, but I don't even remember a night that I had without crying myself to sleep, without listening to sad music. I found comfort in doing that, which was hurting myself. I always desired a relationship. I always. Every time I like someone, I always like them a lot. I started liking a lot of guys, and God never allowed anything to happen with those guys. From 7th to 10th grade, and this time period, it always ended up in them not liking me. Well, that was many times the case, that they didn't like me back, or it just never worked out. I would get so hurt. I would be in my room crying. And I remember many of the guys that I desire to be in a relationship with, I used to always pray. To God, please, give me this desire, make something happen with this person. And nothing ever happened. And it got to a point where, because I always used to pray, depending on the person, depending on how much I like them, I used to pray, Lord, make something happen with this person. Make something happen. Nothing ever happened. So it got to a point to where this was in 9th grade. This was the summer of 9th grade. And I remember at this point, I said, God, you don't exist. Love doesn't exist. I remember I was so angry at God. I was so angry. I was thinking, He never makes anything happen for me. He never does anything in my life. So why should I believe in a God that doesn't do anything? I was thinking, does He even exist? How I hear everyone talking in church, how He's done something in their lives, and in my life, He never did anything. Every time I prayed, every time I desired something, He never made it happen. But at the time, I didn't know that God will make something happen if it's according to His will for your life. And that's something I understand now. I was not praying for something that was according to His will. Oh, and I forgot to say this, but before, when I was in 10th and 9th grade, I wasn't saved. I called myself a Christian, but I wasn't really a Christian. I didn't even read the word. I only prayed whenever I desired something from God. That's all I did. But I didn't have a relationship with Jesus Christ at the time, which was why I said I didn't know, I tried to bribe God because I didn't know. I would try to bribe God. I would try to say, Lord, if you make this happen with this person, we're gonna read the Bible together, we're gonna pray together. I remember I used to say that. If I didn't even read the Bible myself or pray all the time myself at the time, then why would I think I would do that with that other person? I just think about that today and I'm thinking that doesn't make sense. But that was what I used to say. God sees our intentions. God saw that if he would have given that to me, I would have completely worshipped that person. I would have completely had him in my heart, and God would not be in the center of that relationship. Because I used to desire a relationship selfishly because I wanted to make myself feel better, because I had insecurities. I felt empty, and so I used to think from the way the world made relationships seem, that would complete me. That would complete my whole life. That was all I focused on. My focus was on relationships. That was the only thing I focused on. That was the only thing I desired, truly desired in my heart. If you desire a relationship, if you have that strong desire, because there's some people that don't really care too much about that, and there's people that do, that they've always had that desire on their hearts all their lives, you know? I'm one of those people. Look, I believe that God placed that desire on your heart because he does have someone for you. He does. Just the same way God has someone for me. In the Bible, it talks about having the gift of marriage and having the gift of singleness. But before God can ever give you the desire of your heart, can bless you with that person that he has for you, you need to seek Jesus. You need to find your identity in Jesus Christ, because if you don't find your identity in Jesus Christ, the moment God allows that person into your life, you're going to mess up the blessing because you're not ready for it, or you're going to be delaying that person from coming into your life. You're going to be delaying that promise that God has for you. You need to first seek satisfaction in Jesus Christ. Something else that I forgot to add is the reason why you need to seek satisfaction in Jesus Christ first, and the reason why God may not give you the person that he wants for you yet, is because you need healing on your heart before he can put you in a relationship. Because if you still have wounds from your past in your heart, it's gonna affect you. It's gonna affect you with that other person that God has for you. Because you may bring that past hurt into that relationship, which is going to mess things up. Jesus Christ needs to heal your heart first. He needs to be the one that you feel full fulfillment in, and satisfaction and wholeness, before getting into a relationship with the person that he has for you, that you are going to serve him with. And something else as well is that maybe you have the wrong image of what a marriage is, of what he designed marriage to be like. Maybe what you're thinking a relationship is supposed to be like is not the correct way that God had ordained it to be seen as. Maybe you're seeing it in a worldly perspective, and maybe you don't even realize that. So that's the reason why you need to seek Jesus Christ first, so he can work in you. The Holy Spirit is going to change you, change everything inside of you. And also he is going to change your mindset. He's going to change the way you see things. I understand how we can be desperate sometimes. Maybe you're someone that's never been in a relationship before. Maybe you have, and you've been heartbroken many times. Before Jesus Christ saved me, that was my life. God sees you. He sees you. I remember those times that I would cry at night. That was my very first time ever having suicidal thoughts, when I was thinking, does love even exist? If love doesn't exist, then there's no point of life. But the thing is, the one who is love is God. Seek him, and you will find that love that you desire. And the rest, the desire that he's placed in your heart for marriage, he will bless you in the moment that you least expect it, in his perfect timing, not ours. I remember at the time that I was crying, this was a time when I was seeking him, because he placed a situation in my life to where I was seeking him and praying for someone. And so I would seek him. I remember I would seek him with all my heart. For weeks, all I wanted was him. That's all I wanted. I was so broken inside. I was so sad. I was thinking that I was gonna die from heartache. That's how bad it was. I was in so much pain that I couldn't bear it, which is why I was seeking him. One night when I said to Jesus, Jesus, I am done. I am done. I can't do this anymore. I am just gonna give everything to you. All my worries, all this worry that I have towards praying for this person, even the desire of my heart that I have, I'm gonna give it all to you. I'm gonna give it to you because I can't do this no more. You wanna know what happened? In that moment when I was crying so much, where the waterfall of tears were coming out of my eyes, and my face hurt so much from crying for so long, out of nowhere, this was the very first time I ever felt God's presence in that way. I felt it before in church, but this was the first time I ever felt God's presence at my house. I've never felt it before in my life at my house. Oh my gosh. It was like this peace. This peace just came out of nowhere, just starting in my heart, and then just spread all over my body. It was this peace that I've never felt in my life. I've never felt it doing anything. Like, I was amazed. Bro, my crying face changed into a smile. The smile was it just came out of nowhere. And I just started laughing. It may sound crazy, but I just started laughing. I don't know what it was. It was just like a peace, and it was like a supernatural joy. And oh my gosh. In that moment, it was like the Lord spoke to me, and I felt that he was saying, he was there. He has been there the whole entire time. I had been crying. I had been crying those weeks, and even before I ever started truly seeking him, in those nights that I would cry in my bed, depressed, saying, does love even exist? Saying, God, you don't exist. He was there. He was there the whole entire time. He heard my cries. He heard my cries. He heard me. He heard me. And he sees the desire that I had. He saw it. He saw that desire. He sees the desire that you have. That desire that you have, he sees it. He wants you to be seeking it in him first, and then he's going to bless you. He's going to bless you with that desire of your heart.